right, so let's get up with the video today. Today we're going to be discussing something called the Christian persecution complex. Now, why am I even making a video about the Christian persecution complex as a, as a topic in general? This is a phrase, this is a very new and recent way to categorize certain people, okay? And I've also known that there are some people who do have a I'm persecuted kind of a complex, okay? A lot of times, man, we can get so wrapped up in our beliefs to where, like, we think that every individual thing that's going on in our lives has something to do with that. But now I get it. Yes, God is sovereign and he will use your life to mature you spiritually. But, like, for an example, if you and somebody got a problem with one another, a lot of times, like, if you have a persecution complex, you can make it sound like that problem you have with them is because they don't like you because of what you are or who you are. And there are people who can be that way, truthfully. Like, there are real people like that. But then on the flip side, you have to look at it like this. They are looking for ways to be able to put certain people groups in a box, okay? Like the whole thing about being homophobic, for instance. Everybody who doesn't condone a certain lifestyle is not guilty of having a phobia. I don't really think people know what a phobia is. A phobia is an unhealthy dislike for something, an unhealthy dislike for it, an unhealthy fear of it, and all because you simply don't condone a certain lifestyle practice does not mean that you have an unhealthy fear of it. But they would like for you to believe that everybody who isn't like them are like that, specifically because the world wants everybody like this. It doesn't matter how much sense you make, and it doesn't matter how many facts you bring. It don't even matter if you use the dictionary. They are what they say you are what they say you are, not what you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a man identifying as a woman. You are what they say you are, not what you are. Like, truth is not truth anymore. It's what a person feel like it is. Truth is not truth anymore. It's what people feel like it is. If you ever notice, you ever pay attention, I say this all the time, but you notice a huge trend in how people talk these days. There's a certain phrase people love saying, and they say it so blindly. I just feel like. If you ever pay attention and you have a conversation with somebody, count how many times you hear that. Just count how many times you hear, I just feel like. That'll probably be half of what they said. The amount of times they say, I just feel like, will probably amount to half of what they said. Christian persecution complex is somebody who has an unhealthy, in other words, if I sum it up, it's somebody that always believe every conflict they have in life is due to being persecuted. But what people don't really understand is that Christians really are persecuted. And it might not be direct persecution, but it is. As you can see, all these laws are changing, and all these laws are changing in favor of being against Christianity. All of these laws are changing against the standard of God. But first, they persecute God. That's who they're persecuting with indirect Christian persecution. Like when they change laws or have certain mandates. But then when they actually start to force you to have certain practices or say certain things or make certain allegiances or give passes for certain things, or else But then that start to actually turn into persecution. And even though this word or this word phrase may have just come out in 2022, like this is the way it's gonna be from now on. And they're gonna make it sound like anybody who's not willing to accept the changes in society are just one of those people who feel like they're being persecuted or marginalized or disadvantaged or something like that. And I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you, right? Christianity is the new minority. Being Christian will make you the new minority. I'll say that again. Being Christian will make you the new minority in the world. But he who is in me is greater than he who's in the world. So as long as you're with the Lord, you are the majority. But from the world's point of view, you are the minority. A lot of things happen to you simply because you have a target on your back in the spirit. A lot of demons drive people to do certain things to you, and that person don't even intend to persecute you. They probably believe that they had a valid reason to do what they did or say what they said, and really it was all in their head. But that valid reason was all in their head, and not like something that they could actually have a real valid reason to do. Like if you were to write this down, how dumb would it sound? Very dumb, right? Like I tell everybody, like before you believe you have a valid reason to do anything, write it down. Ask yourself, is this actually true? Before you feel like you are being persecuted, write down what happened. Is it actually true? Is this actually persecution? Because sometimes people with those certain complexes, they tend to start problems just because they think everybody have a problem with them. It seemed like they give off a certain kind of a vibe, and it rubs people the wrong way simply because they think everybody got a problem with them. They would tend to make certain moves that they know will be problematic, specifically because they think everybody got a problem with them already. And I call that a self-sabotaging spirit. I do. Maybe that ain't the word for it. Maybe that ain't what you really call it, but that's just what I call it. But that is a very, very, very self-sabotaging spirit. But sometimes people can be that way. I'm not gonna lie to you. And you gotta watch out and make sure that you're not being that way. Are you causing problems because you think everybody has one with you already? But sometimes you can just chill. Wait until you know what you're talking about. Because sometimes it could be all in your head too. Being in your head is not for others, it's for you too. You can be in yours too. But this whole thing about Christian persecution is getting ready to turn up pretty hot. You are now being on a CIA, you are now on a government watch list if you are public about your faith. If you buy weapons and survival gear, and if you purchase any Bibles or biblical content, or if you're public about your faith, or if you are a weapons activist, like if you one of those kind of people, especially if you're public about your faith, you are on a government watch list. And this is actually public information. Look, now why are you on a government watch list? All because you believe in loving your neighbor? Well, because the devil rules this world, and the devil knows what the real power of God inside of a believer is like. And he's got to get in front of you to make sure he can, put up a stand against the power God has given you before you even realize the power that God has given you. But see, the devil is already moving to put up guards against what a real believer is capable of doing before that real believer even knows that he's capable of doing it. And it's going to be a rude awakening to the devil to find out that can't nothing stop God. You know what I'm saying? But hey, there's a lot of people that don't really walk with God, even if they are public about their faith. And I hate to say it like this, but y'all don't want to be the ones who end up like a victim. You know what I'm saying? Unable to realize your potential because you done got stuck and stymied too far before. And if you do feel like right now you are in a position that's got you kind of stuck, man, just make some changes, because this is the year right now. This is the year that we should be working toward them changes. This year. This is the year. But another thing that I want to say is this. The more we become a persecuted group, the more power God is going to give us to be about the harvest, okay? But that is the number one thing that God cares about, is who's working the harvest. Who's working the harvest. So make sure that you continue to work the harvest. You know, make sure that you continue to be about the Father's business, because that's what God puts into. He invests more into investments that are actually working out. You know what I mean? So do what you can to bear fruit and reproduce after your own kind. But as far as Christian persecution, you know, you don't got to walk around here with a chip on your shoulder feeling like everybody's out to get you. You know, like, enjoy your life, man. I mean, like, after all, it is going to be very short. So just enjoy your life, man. But Christian persecution is real. It's turning up more than we ever would have thought it would in America. And unfortunately, it's going to be worse than a lot of people think it'll be. Because a lot of people believe that before they will ever run across tribulation, they will be raptured out off the earth before then. And all I have to say is this. If the Bible don't say that, don't bank on it. Bank on the fact that the Bible say you will have persecution. The Bible says you will have persecution. Bank on that, because persecution can happen to you before a great tribulation happens in general. And so if you're not preparing your heart for persecution, period, then, like, I mean, you're doing yourself a bad disservice, man. A real bad disservice. So always prepare yourself for anything. You know, because at the end of the day, God can do anything. And the book of Revelation don't happen in chronological order. We really don't know the order to things in which how they'll work out. So prepare your heart for anything. And remember this. The greatest persecutors of the church were church people. But no, they didn't have as much power as the government had. But they had a lot of influence on how the church was persecuted in the book of Acts. And when Jesus walked here. And they'll have a lot of influence on how Christians are persecuted today. So other than that, that's all I had to say for you all today. Please follow me on Rumble, The Priesthood Media, just one word, The Priesthood Media, all one word. Follow me on YouTube, The Priesthood Media, The Priesthood Media, 3 separate words. And I pray that you all learned something from this, and hope you all have a good day. Thanks.